All right. Hello, everyone. We're going to start with the knee lecture. As you remember, when we were before spring break, we finished up talking over the different muscles, muscle groups. Okay, so I want you to review those. We're not really going to add anything new for the knee. We're just going to look at the structures and talk about some key components. So I'll get this resized a little bit. We'll just kind of follow along and see how we get, okay? All right, so remember we've got the femur above. The two ends of the femur are very round, which sit on the flat surface of the tibia. Okay, so we have our tibia. This is our primary weight-bearing bone in the lower leg. Next to that, we have the fibula. Okay, so in the lower leg, you've got your tibia, bears all the weight, and then fibula to the side. All right, fibula will always be lateral. So we're looking at an anterior view. So that fibula is going to be lateral. When we think about that, this would be a right leg. Okay. Now, in the middle of that tibia, we have a tibial tuberosity. This is a large bump. Okay, on the front of the tibia, this is where your patella tendon attaches. To the sides, we have the condyles. And then as we go straight across, we see the head of the fibula. Okay, so some key points I want you to know. Tibial tuberosity, medial and lateral condyle, and then head of the fibula. On the back, there we can see the medial condyle, lateral condyle, just the head of the fibula. Don't worry about anything else, just the head. Those are the three things I want you to be aware of. Everything else you can cross out. So medial condyle, lateral condyle, head of the fibula. If you feel this on your own, you can kind of feel the joint line where your knee bends. So you'll feel the rounded surface of your femur up above, and then you'll feel the two condyles. The head of the fibula is very lateral. Okay, so it's the most lateral, and sometimes it's this big bump. Now, at the head of the fibula, okay, and just we're looking at the lateral view. So here's head of the fibula. There's that lateral condyle. There's a lot going on. So we're looking at a lateral view. We have the iliotibial or the IT band coming down. The biceps or that hamstring tendon, which is on the lateral side, crosses. We have this other connection site, and I want you to put a little star by this one, okay? Gerdy's tubercle. We're going to come back, we're going to jump back to a slide, and we're going to add something to it, but Gerdy's tubercle, okay? What I want you to keep in mind is that there's a lot of things that cross the knee, okay? Here we have the patella. Up here are my quads. They come down. They share the patella. They cover that bone. And they wrap around in front, the hamstrings in back, the IT band. So there's a lot going on at the knee. This is why we have a lot of knee problems. Okay? Now, Gerdy's tubercle. We're going to go back. And what I want you to do is right here, okay, where my marker is, where that arrow is. I want you to draw an arrow, and we're going to add two different, these are kind of attachment sites. All right? So right here, just to the lateral aspect of my tibial tuberosity, I want you to put an X or put a circle. That is what we call Gerdy's tubercle. Okay? Gerdy's tubercle is right there. It's an attachment site for several muscles. Now, to the medial aspect. Okay, so we've got tibial tuberosity in the middle. Lateral, we have Gerdy's. Medial, we have this structure called pes anserine. All right? P-E-S, pes, and then anserine, A-N-S-E-R-I-N-E, pes anserine. Okay, so tibial tuberosity in the middle, Gerdy's lateral, pes anserine medial. We'll come back to those in a little bit. All right, now what we're looking at is the front of our knee. When we remove the patella, we'll see there's my rounded condyles of the femur. There's my tibial plateau. There's our two condyles. There's tibial tuberosity down here. We're going to see that there's a lot of soft tissue structures. Okay. Now, the knee is held together by four ligaments. Number one, anterior cruciate. There's our ACL. Two, posterior cruciate. That's our PCL. Okay, so they are right in the middle. They prevent the femur from moving too far forward or too far posterior. Now, to the sides, all right, on this lateral aspect. I know it says fibular collateral. I actually want you to write lateral collateral. This is our LCL, okay? There's the LCL. Medial, this one right in here, we have the MCL. That's the medial collateral, okay? So medial collateral ligament, lateral collateral ligament. Now notice, biceps femoris coming from our hamstring, that's actually going to attach to the head of our fibula, okay? This transverse ligament, you're looking at it and you're saying, Cal, 4 ligaments that hold the knee together, what does this guy do? Well, there's a 5th. We really don't know exactly what his job is, So right now we think of ACL, PCL, LCL, MCL. This transverse ligament is just an accessory ligament, okay? Later on, years from now, we might better understand it, but for right now, we look at 4 main ligaments of the knee. Here we can see a top-down view. We're looking at the tibia. We have our ACL, our PCL, all right, right in the middle. And then our shock absorbers, those are our meniscus. Okay, you have a medial meniscus and a lateral meniscus. Medial meniscus is a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker. Lateral meniscus not as large. All right, so we're looking at a top-down view. So ACL, PCL, medial meniscus, lateral meniscus. There's that transverse ligament. It really doesn't do much. We're not sure what it does. I do want you to go ahead, cross out coronary ligament. Okay, get rid of coronary ligament and get rid of popliteus tendon. There's the other part of coronary ligament. That one is just, it's there. Again, it's not that important. So cross out coronary, both sides, and get rid of popliteus. So I want you to know lateral meniscus, medial meniscus, ACL, PCL. Again, we've got a capsule surrounds the knee. Those capsule and the fibers of our ligaments all kind of fuse together. So again, our ligaments are going to tie bone to bone. They're going to add stability. Our capsule just keeps all the good stuff in, bad stuff out. There's another view. I like this one. It shows our medial collateral ligament and our lateral collateral ligament. And there we can see ACL and PCL. So we're looking at the front of a knee. This would be a right knee, the anterior surface. We can see ACL, PCL behind it. They cross, they make an X. MCL, LCL, and then there's our 2 meniscus. All right, so this is what's going on in the knee. Now, thinking about our muscles, we've got our quads. Remember, rectus, which is a 2-joint muscle, and then our 3 vastus. All of our quads come together to form the quad tendon, which becomes the patella tendon. All right, so you've got the quad tendon and the patella tendon. That's going to cross the knee, and that's going to help allow us to extend. All right, so help to extend the knee. There we can see, don't worry about genu articularis. It's this tiny little muscle. Cross that out, get rid of it. Cross out genu articularis. But what we have, we imagine our quads all the way up here. So 4 muscles that come down to form 1 tendon. So quad tendon would be up here. We've got our patella and then patella tendon down here. So although it's the same structure, we really have 2 different names. So above the knee is quad tendon. Below the knee is patella tendon. So same thing, quad tendon, patella in the middle. Review, we've got our glutes. All right, we can see that piriformis underneath, glute min. Glute med is more to the lateral aspect. There's that iliotibial band. We've got biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus on the medial side. So there we can see semitendinosus on top, semimembranosus below. And then we've got biceps femoris lateral. So a lot goes on, a lot is crossing the knee. Now, pes anserine, we labeled that earlier. Remember, this is our medial attachment site, okay? It's just a rough spot on the tibia, same thing with Gertie's. But here we have at pes anserine, I want you to highlight these 3 muscles, all right? Sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinosus. They come down, they cross the knee, and they all share one attachment site. This pes anserine is known as duck's foot, okay? Pes anserine is duck's foot. We have 3 muscles that they kind of have this webbing, which gives it the name for the duck's foot. We got 3 muscles that share one attachment site. This is why it's really common to have a lot of knee pain. All right, and when we get to injuries, we'll talk about that. But we have 3 muscles sharing one attachment, and then oftentimes there's a lot of rubbing. But I want you to know sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinosus all attach right there. Now, we'll talk more about this muscle in next unit, but the gastroc, okay, or your calf, it also crosses the knee, it comes up. So we have kind of this Y configuration coming down from the hamstrings and then coming up from the gastrocs. This slide number 29, cross it out. I don't want you to worry about it. We'll talk about this more with the lower leg. Okay, so slide 29, cross out. Now, these next few slides, I'm going to kind of jump back and forth. But what happens? Here we have where my arrow is. That's Gerdy's tubercle. Okay, Gerdy's is key because our IT band attaches at Gerdy's. Then what happens with Gerdy's is every time you flex and extend, okay? So every time, imagine my knee is flexing and extending. That IT band rolls over this lateral condyle of the femur. Okay, so every time you bend your knee, you move from flexion to extension. See how that IT band rolls over? And what happens is where that arrow is, you start to get friction. Okay, so if your IT band is tight, it rolls, it snaps naturally. But the tighter that IT band gets, the more problems you're going to have. So we've got 3 muscles on the medial aspect of the knee that cross, that snap, that rub. You have your IT band on the outside. This is why it's so common for us to have knee pain with runners, with people that do repeated motion. Runners and cyclists are always going from flexion to extension. This is why the IT band is such a problem area. Okay? So, we'll come back to this. These are some meniscus, different types of meniscus tears. I'll get into this with our knee injuries. Main thing I want you to know with the knee, it is set up. It's kind of naturally unstable. You have a round bone, your femur, sitting on top of a flat bone, your tibia. Imagine if you were to try and balance a basketball on a table. It's not going to work out that well. It's not very stable. The knee is not stable. It relies on our 4 ligaments. Okay? Has to have those 4 ligaments. ACL, PCL, MCL, LCL. Those 4 ligaments keep that femur from moving too far on our tibia. So we've got round bone on top of a flat bone. Knee is inherently unstable. To add to that, we've got a lot of muscles that then cross the knee. So the knee is a source of friction. So it's unstable. There's a lot of friction going on. When we get to our injuries, we're going to see just what kind of effect that has. All right. Your book has a lot of pictures, a lot of great descriptions. I would encourage you, take some time, read through your notes, read through the book, listen to this lecture, kind of chunk it up, go back, review your muscles. But our next lecture, we'll look at different injuries. Okay. So as always, if you have questions, shoot me an email. We can hop onto a Zoom session. But again, your book is a great resource. There's a lot of good things with biodigital, a lot of things online, some videos you can find. But just keep working at this stuff, all right? Talk to you soon.